Should I cut my father off for his clear favoritism toward my siblings? I am in my early 30s. When I was 9, my father had an affair and left my mom for this woman. She is my stepmom. They went on to have 2 children, my sisters. My father's business really took off after the divorce. He is quite wealthy. Over the years I have watched him treat his new family to a life of excess. Vacations multiple times a year to places like Paris, England, Caribbean, etc. Paid for the other kids' educations, bought them cars, designer clothing, and most recently paid for my 22-year-old sister to live in a luxury condo. They have free reign of the family credit cards and are very spoiled. I have never been invited on any of the family vacations, and I usually only find out about them through their pics on social media. I grew up in poverty, having a single mom. We had what we needed but nothing more. I have worked hard to support myself, pay my rent every month and afford my car payment and other bills. I still struggle a bit as a single girl but make it work. My 2 sisters have not worked a day in their lives. My dad has given me a bit of money, a couple thousand when I have been stuck in my early 20s, and always buys me nice Xmas and birthday gifts, which I appreciate, but it's really nothing compared to what the others are handed. Big parties are always thrown for my sisters' birthdays, graduations, etc., but I sometimes don't even receive an invite to their holiday parties. Despite everything, I have a pretty good relationship with my dad, stepmom and sisters, and previously didn't let the disparity of how he treats his children to bother me. I recently found out my father paid for my 22-year-old sister to have over $15,000 in plastic surgery, and this just put me over the edge. I collect pop bottles for extra money and he knows the modest life I live. I have recently realized how little I matter to my father, and how jealous I have become over how much his new family has while I struggle. Myself and other family members have brought this up to him over the years, but nothing changes. When someone brings the situation to his attention, he will send me a few $100s and feel things are fixed. Rinse and repeat year after year. I decided after an emotional week to cut off my father. He clearly doesn't care about me the way he does my other sisters, and I can't have this affecting my life any longer. I wrote my dad a long email saying goodbye and expressing my pain, and am ready to hit send. I don't want my father to think my love is conditional on what he gives me. I love him for him, and I know I'm an adult who should support myself. This really isn't about what he has given me, but more about the clear favoritism he has shown over the years. Too long did not read. Father has treated my sisters to a long life of privilege while I live in poverty. Considering cutting him off to avoid any more pain. You need to spell out to your father why you are doing what you are doing. It's most likely his wife spending all that money without him caring or paying attention. Especially if you are getting nice gifts for holidays, again his wife buying them. This falls on your father completely. Regardless of the past or situation, it's his responsibility to make sure all of his children are provided for. The same, rich or poor, no child should go without. Talk to your father. Sometimes hearing the truth cuts deeper, and if he still does not change the dynamics, then you can walk away knowing you expressed how you feel and he made the choice not to care. Don't cut him off without speaking your mind. I was going to comment that your father may not notice, but this has been brought to his attention before, so he's just an asshole. I would send him the mail. You should. Not because of the lack of gifts, but because you deserve to be surrounded by people that see you and love you and value you, all of you. You will feel better when you don't have their lifestyle and preferential treatment thrown in your face regularly. You might as well get something out of the relationship. I'll probably get downvoted for this, but you should be cordial with him and keep up the facade so he can keep giving you money. Possibly before the email. Go no contact for a long period of time. See the reaction from that. In my opinion, sending an email is a bit dramatic. It looks more like a last-ditch pathetic plea for affection, attention. If you really need some space for your own emotional well-being, then create some distance. If they notice and ask, then you can tell them why. If not, then you know exactly where you stand. Just remember, you're an adult and your father owes you nothing. And just as you're not entitled to his money, he's not entitled to a relationship with you. Do you want your stepmom to win? If you cut contact, stepmother will tell your father, "See, I told you." Tell your father you are struggling. Ask him for help. Do whatever you need to do for yourself. This is who he is. He won't change. Maybe go low contact and don't cut him completely off. Wait for him to contact you. Stop checking their social media. I don't even need the story. The answer is yes. Why do you feel so entitled to his money? He doesn't owe you anything whether you're his child or not, but decide for yourself whether you want to cut off your father over being jealous of what he does for your siblings. It sucks, but have you ever asked him why he treats the others and not you? It's hard when your parents show favoritism to the other sibling. I know, I've felt that way. And seen it, and I've witnessed this with my husband as well. They definitely favored his brother, who pretty much did many crimes, literally, and he kept getting away with everything in the eyes of their parents. Should you cut your father off? It is completely up to you. In my case and my husband's case, we don't, because our parents are elderly and we want to be able to care for them, because the favored siblings, from either side, are not the most responsible of adults. Question. Did he at least paid for child support? Did he make you a college fund or helped you with school? If not, what a shorty person. Cut contact with the entire family. Find a good therapist to work this abandonment. My bio dad was in a hole too. He got himself a brand new family and forgot about me. It's been over 23 years since he last saw me. He walked past me in the street and didn't recognize me. I made my life, moved to another country, accomplished many things with the help of my mom. F these deadbeat sperm donors. Hit send on that email. If your dad sends you money, send it back to him and tell him you can't be bought. I think you would be doing the right thing, but honestly, you are better off without that money too. Out of all his children, you are the one most likely to have a happy life, since you both work hard to have what you got and also understand how much life can suck. That means you can truly appreciate the good times when you have them, whereas if they become independent, they may not be able to stand on their own 2 feet and may feel miserable because of it. You can't really predict life, but I think you owe it to yourself to not be tortured by a relationship you will never have. Best wishes for the future. Let me tell you, he's not doing those sisters of yours any favors in the long run by spoiling them like that. You are given nice gifts for Christmas and holidays, and you know he'd help you if you asked, right? You love him. He loves you. Don't hit send. He's just a dumb dad, not evil. Minimize contact if it makes you feel better, especially with your sister's social media. Don't burn that bridge. You may need some help in the future. That's what I'd tell you if I were your mom, and I'm old enough to be. This is a hard situation, but if I was in your shoes, I wouldn't send that email. I would just slowly detach yourself from him and the new family. I would be silent about it, cause you don't want to end on bad terms just in case he has your name on his will. Yes, cut him off. You deserve better than that. Everyone deserves better than that. Are you in the US? Did he pay the child support? If not, I would see if your mom can still go to court for that. Sometimes you can. I wouldn't send that email. I would just stop the contact. Telling someone who clearly doesn't care about you that you are leaving him is always hollow. Hello. They don't care. Never cared in the first place. Save your breath. Dress up your best and go talk to him. Explain your situation and express your opinion like an adult. If you can talk some sense into your father and bond with him, that's great. If not, say goodbye and part with him on good, neutral terms. You're doing well on your own. You don't need the additional stress that comes from your stepmother. It's so painful when the treatment is so different and it's so obvious. Realize it's not about you, it's truly his lack, although it impacts you, and I'd recommend doing whatever option feels right for you. I'm sure there's a huge lesson in there somewhere that's teaching you how strong, resilient, and self-reliant you are, although it's always painful how we wind up learning these things. Sounds like he's a man that wants his man-son to be a man, figure it out, and make his own money. I'm not saying that's right of him, and I definitely understand the feelings of being left out. Daughters are different than sons might be his point of view. Before ending the relationship, I'd suggest at least having a conversation about it. What do you have to lose? Good luck. There's a term for this: targeted neglect. Cut him off. It gets worse, trust me. He may come around, but you guys are equal. Don't settle for anything else, even if it means everyone gets nothing. Question. How did you grow up in poverty with a single mom? You are from divorced parents, not a single mom household. With how wealthy your dad is, he should have been paying big child support, especially if your mom had primary or full custody. Put yourself in a situation where you need the same things the other sisters need, and if he can't provide on the same terms and he's more invested into a relationship that isn't between you and him, then make it clear to him and cut communication with him. If he doesn't show you respect, then why should you? Try to separate, become completely independent, and then just don't go too far out of your way to make an appointment with him. There is something that is conflicting with him and you, or loss of interest, and the alternative to showing you any support is at low priority to than the other siblings. This is a counseling thing that needs to be brought up with a respectable therapist. There is a divide between you and him, and he has more effort into the other siblings. No, that's your dad. My sister is my mom's favorite. And it makes feel bad, but it's family. If you get along with your dad, you can probably have a detailed discussion before cutting him off. Not when someone brings the situation to his attention. Maybe a therapy session together. At least a detailed conversation that ends with, "I don't see how to continue this relationship with so many signs you care for your children a certain way and that I clearly don't receive the same care. Your help and love have been loved and appreciated and your love reciprocated. But the constant, measurable reminders I'm less important is something I can't bear anymore." Leave the door open for continued discussion and possibly other solutions than goodbye, is all. If you need to say goodbye later, if other solutions don't appear or don't work, then do so. I would. You lose nothing since he's useless and gain emotional freedom. He doesn't deserve a letter. You need to move on with your life. Cut contact. Stop looking at their family on social media. He knows how HES mistreated you, and makes no real effort to change. Cut him all out of your life completely and move on. The harsh reality is that he won't really care. Your father is garbage you don't need in your life. My mother had a very similar experience with her father. The resentment that built over the years deeply affected her life. After seeing what she went through and the despair it caused, I suggest going no contact. You might get through to him better by speaking alone to his wife. If she is making an effort to make sure you get nice gifts at Christmas and birthdays, she may already have an idea of what you are living and be more solution-oriented than your dad. Instead of cutting ties, work hard to show him you re the boss. And then shush. Tea in his shoes. Personally, I would have cut him off 10 years prior. I guess if that works for you. It sounds like he was there for you but more for the other kids. It's not like he left you to the wolves. I mean, he gives you money whenever it's brought up. Unlike most toxic parents, just call their kid ungrateful and play victim. But if not dealing with him makes you feel better, do it. Sadly, I doubt that'll do anything for you because I think you'll be mad no matter his reaction. Just block all of them. No explanation. No nothing. You tried over the years. You really did. Clearly they don't see you as family. You will be better off without them. Info. Has he ever paid child support? Wow, what a garbage father you have there. Cheats, favoritize only 2 out of his 3 daughters, ignores his 1 daughter, spoils his 2 daughters and let his 1 daughter live in poverty. I would not cut him off, as then you are stuck with the burden of having cut him off. Just let him do the legwork and stop looking at social media. One of the worst types of posts are single narrative posts criticizing others. Let's call your dad up. Yeah. I keep giving her money, but it's for rehab. All the other thousands I've given her and her mother in the past were used on meth, and I finally said to myself, enough is enough. This is exactly why I left her mother, and in the process, she turned my daughter against me. I bit the painful bullet and moved on so that I can finally be happy. I don't really have advice, but I am super annoyed at your father. Who does this? How can you not recognize the inequality, the difference? Just mind-blowing. How can he rest his head every night and think he is doing right as a father to all his children? He can afford it, clearly, yet leaves you friggin' collect pop bottles. Shame. I hope you sent it. That's a real shitty feeling. Send it. One of 2 things happen. He realize how unfair he has been, or he doesn't. If he does, it may force the change you want in him. If he doesn't, what have you truly lost, except pain? To continue the way you are now, is just additional heartache. Good luck. Is it bad for me to suggest you keep him around just for the expensive gifts? I'd send it. Your father is an asshole. I would never cut off a relative just because they were giving other family members more money than they were giving me. I'm having trouble even comprehending the thought process behind a decision. At worst, I would go low contact and remain amicable. You shouldn't let other people, even a former parent, influence your emotions in that way. What do you actually want from a response made by others on Reddit? You've already made your decision and executed it. Seems like you are looking for validation, which the internet can perhaps provide you, but its quality is uncertain. I suggest seeking advice from a professional. I think you should tell him it was pretty lame of him to do that. Because to me it sounds like that's what you want to say. Easier said than done. Props to you and your mother for being self-aware and working through difficult times. I wish you all of the luck. Your character is probably 10x your spoiled sister's. Good luck to you. Cheers. You are not getting all of this op. This is likely not your dad's doing. This is his wife's doing. He does this to keep her happy. You need to ask him for more help. He is not a mind reader. He probably admires the fact that you are independent. If he says no to helping you, then feel free to cut him off. I know a lot of people down in the comments section are advocating for Op to cut off her father right away, and I understand where those people are coming from, but here's my take. If you do cut your father off, sit him down for a one-on-one conversation beforehand to test the waters and see what he thinks. Tell him how you feel, why you think he's in the wrong, and here's the most important thing, give him some proposals about how to remedy the current situation, such as compensating for all those years in the past. Then, see how he reacts. If he reacts with sympathy or understanding, try to make the situation better. But if he just brushes it off, then yeah, you probably should go NC.